12 champions. That dragon marking?
I think it's an invitation to fight for something known.
As Mortal Kombat.
Hey, Louis. Hey, Mehcad. You know what? Before I start this interview, I've been meaning to say something to Mr. Brooks that I've been wanting to say for like a year or so now.
Okay.
Ashtray
He owes you money.
Ashtray bitch. That's like the classic line that would just go down. Like every time I see you, think about that line. If you haven't seen Louis, you gotta see Fall from Grace. He's hilarious.
That's a good movie,
that, bro.
Okay.
Thanks, man.
But I want to talk about this movie first to you about the role of playing Jax, because so many people, I mean, notably Michael Jai White and other people have played the role before.
Yeah. What
did you decide to bring new to the character when you took on this role, besides muscles, because now you look all ripped up?
Thanks, but yeah, I gained 45 pounds for the role because Jax is a monster. He's huge. I don't know if I brought anything new as much as I just brought something authentic as myself, right? And it just brought something original, which was my take on it. All praises to Michael Jai, to everybody else who played Jax before me. But I will say that what I did to prepare was that, and I didn't watch the other performances, so I don't know if there's any similarities in these. But what I did to prepare was I started with this Hemingway quote, which I'm going to butcher. So let's call it a paraphrase. Once you've hunted and killed trained men long enough, you have little desire to do anything else, right? And I think that's where Jax is when you first meet him. Is like he's a monster because he's hunting monsters, right? So who did he have? He started off as a special forces assassin and became somebody who was hunting multi-dimensional assassins and multi-dimensional ninjas and monsters, and that. How do you get there? How do you go from doing that to that? And so for me, there was an emotional aspect to the role, a psychological aspect to the role, and a physical aspect to the role that kind of had to orchestrate together and to be orchestrated together and like create this symphony of what you see.
Yeah, Louis. I mean, both of you guys are great. I mean, both of y'all were models at one time, but you was also a competitive fighter. And I wonder if when you talk about Wu Assassins or playing, the Drunken Master, like how close is, cinema fighting on screen, the choreography to real fighting? Is the moves similar to what you would do? Or is it all for the screen? Do you find like the stuff to be odd and when you think about your competitive fighting nature?
Yeah, it really depends actually on the choreography and what exactly we're doing. Like for instance, the opening scene with me in the cage fight, I was fighting a real fighter named Ian Streets, who's a bare knuckle boxer, MMA fighter with a good record and a strong guy. And so me and him, because of the type of choreography we're doing, there's sometimes when you got to take a couple shots and you got to throw somebody, you got to throw them for real because you can't really fake that type of thing in that environment. And then there's other times where you're swinging a multi-dimensional weapon at someone, and you're not really going to take their head off with that. So, you need to learn it. It's more like a dance. So yes, I think in general, choreography is more like a dance and it's less like real fighting. Sometimes it's like real fighting, but knowing martial arts and training martial arts kind of teaches you and develops you into an actor that can jump into the choreography and start building, because learning the choreography is just the foundation. That's what most actors just get to that level, and they barely get to that level. That's level one. The next level after that is performing it at a high level. The next level after that is adding your character's emotional journey in this. And then the next level after that is telling a complete story with the fight scene. So it's very layered. In this movie, all the cast was committed to like doing the physical feats as much as they could, and everybody, had different levels of experience, but they were all 100% committed. So, I'm very proud of what we delivered authentically with the martial arts.
Yeah, and Sarah, I'm all the way out of time, Sarah, because I have one more question. I can't throw it in. Okay. Well,
Sorry,
next
bro.
time, guys.
Me and
Love talking
McQuoid
to y'all.
have long answers, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry,
It's
bro.
all
Yeah.
good, man. Next time, man. Take care
Yeah,
out there.
man.
Thank you,
Hey, and
Sarah.
All right.
I love the slideshow in the back.
Yeah, I got y'all over there, right
Hey,
between the kids and everything.
hey, ashtray, bitch.
Thank you, y'all.
All right. That's so crazy. That's my catchphrase.
Jamal Finkley, Black Tree TV. What an exciting movie. I mean, and to think that, Mortal Kombat, the game, came out nearly 30 years ago, and it's still, it's still relevant in a cinematic way. It's still relevant as a game. How does it feel to like take up these characters that's been played in animation, been played on video game, and now, been theatrical a couple of times? How does it feel to like be a part of the Mortal Kombat lore, so to speak?
Well, Jamal, there's a saying in Chinese that, what's gold will always shine through. And that's why I think Mortal Kombat is such an ageless thing. It's that kernel of gold that taps into your imagination, and it brings you back to all the childhood stuff you went through and how much fun you had with it. So it was a real vindication for me, and it's kind of like a gift to my inner child. And it's a gift to the world as well. Like, I'm sure you grew up playing with it, right? I'm sure.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you see some of those scenes, some of those moves. It recalls something really, really cherished inside of you.
Yeah. And Max, I know you've done. I mean, I know you've recently directed and everything else, but you've done so much stunt work, and the part of Mortal Kombat that gets everybody into it is all the action and all the stunt. But stunt performers don't usually get the shine they deserve. And now you're in front of the camera, so now you're getting a lot more shine than most stunt performers. But how much do the stunt performers play into making this movie such a great thing on film?
They play a huge part in not only this film, but making an action film in general. In this case, we had an amazing team, with Todd Garner, the stunt coordinator and second unit director, but also Chan Griffin, who was responsible for choreographing those amazing fight scenes. And without them, we wouldn't have been able to make this film, frankly speaking. So they're very important, yes.
Yeah. How do you guys, and I'll start with you, Ludi, how do you guys feel about Asian representation in cinema today? I know Mortal Kombat is a throwback to ninjas and fighting, but with Minari this year, with Parasite last year, and a number of other films, we seem to see a lot more diversity in the type of films that's telling stories of people of Asian descent. How do you guys feel about the growth in that, and where does it need to go from here?
Well, I feel like diversity is probably one of the greatest questions we're facing right now. It's one of the most important that we need to solve. Not only does it bring more meaning, more representation, and more balance into the world, but we need to get these stories out there, especially in this case, in this last year, where people of color, Black people, and recently it's been happening for years, but finally people are paying attention to the fact that there's a rise in violence and hostility aimed at the Asian community, that we need to get our story out there to get our faces familiar to people, so we don't seem like something as that's being treated as other. We want a story like a global story like Mortal Kombat, where it's just humans coming together to defend the Earth realm against any other forces. We want to create something beautiful, create something lasting, worthwhile.
Yeah. And last question for both of y'all. What's your favorite finishing move?
Well,
Max loves the babalities.
I love babalities, but we don't feature them in the movies. So if I had to pick one from our film, maybe the dragon, when Liu Kang unleashes the dragon, and that's a pretty good one, I think.
Yeah, likewise, I love Kung Lao's. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you guys for your time. Be safe out there. I know we're still in this pandemic. Can't wait till we could do this in person and not on virtual, but thank you for your time. I appreciate y'all putting on a good show for this performance of the movie.
Appreciate you, man. See you, Jamal.